Hi guys, this is Deborah Clutter. I have another baby quilt project I'm working on, and this is going to be a little bit different. So again, we're working with two layers of fabric, no quilt pieces, no piecing, except for I pieced the back, and that's it. And it's 2 layers of flannel. So I have like a print on the front and some kind of print on the back. But I'm going to be quilting this on the diagonal. Now, I looked all over the internet to find somebody that has done this. I talked to other quilters, and there was other quilters that have done this, but I have not found a video on it. So I'm going to be making a video on how to do this. It is my first time. So if I mess up, then you're not going to see the video. Anyway, I am going to do a zigzag pattern because that's what I've been wanting to do for a long time. I actually did see a quilt that was done this way, and it was a bigger quilt, and it was in California that I saw it in one of the shops down there. And I have been wanting to do this for a long time. I can do it on my embroidery machine, and I love the way it looks, so I'm going to do it on this little baby quilt. So I have it set up. You have to make sure that your backing is wide enough to be able to put your front fabric on the diagonal. So I have it set up like in a triangle. It's a little bit longer on one side than it is the other, so it's not a perfect, square, or so it looks a little bit funky, but I took and folded it in half right here along this corner, and then I placed it like that. So I'll show you what the video screen looks like, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. So I've already basted it down. I went ahead and did that so you guys wouldn't be bored to death watching me do that. And I'll show you what my screen looks like. Some of this is only going to make sense because I'm using Gamel's software, and I'm using a Gamble. A Gamble. But I'm sure you can figure out how to translate it to the software that you have on your Longarm. So what I did is I went ahead and set up an edge to edge. And I chose this pattern over here in the pink. And it is something that I digitized. It's not that hard. It's just, I think these are, each side is 1 inch. And I decided how big I wanted it, and I think this width right here is probably 1 inch. I could turn on my grid and show you. Okay, so each one of these grids are 1 inch, so it's about 1 inch. So these are more like 1/2 inch, I think. And then I kind of guessed where it needed to be, how far apart. And then I let it draw all the rows, and they all looked just like that. There's like 90 of them. And then I went ahead and deleted the boundary, and well, first I changed it to repeat patterns by selecting everything and moving it all to one point. And then I deleted the boundary and drew another boundary, and then I started deleting all of the ones that were outside the triangle so I could get close to the triangle. And then I selected all of them within the triangle, and I did a fill inside. Now it looks like it's going to start here, and I'm hoping it's going to go like this and just zigzag across the whole thing without stopping until it gets to here. So we'll go ahead and get started and see how it works. So I have my spoon foot on, and I'm just going to go ahead and start quilting. See what happens. I'm using Omni thread by Superior, and it's a gray. And it looks like it's, well, that's interesting. So Feel Inside has made so it's going across, but then it's going back up and coming down. So it's going to be stitching over the side of the quilt top quite a few times. Now the other thing I could have done is I could have broke it all and then made a line that connected it so that it can quilt the way I want. And I might do that when I roll it the next time. I'm going to go ahead and let it finish its thing. I'm not really concerned that it's stitching over there and it's off the edge of the quilt and nobody's going to care, but it's probably not necessary. But I think it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to let this quilt out, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, it's not a good idea to use Feel Inside. I was helping my husband, and it decided to sew the bottom of the triangle while I wasn't looking. So now I'm having to tear it apart. So I'll show you what we're going to do next. So my husband made these little hooks for me, little heart hooks, so I could hang my quilt back here. I miss having it hung up. And then I can also hang it over here so that I can use it as a backdrop when I'm filming. So I made these little hooks right here. I think they're really sweet. It looks a little bit weird to have the quilt on the back where the mirrors are. I used to, in my old house, I used to have all the quilts hung up on the back behind the long arm. I might have them make me a couple more hooks. I could have some more hooks and hang some more over here. I kind of like being able to see the back of my long arm, so I don't know. We'll see. Well, it took me a while. I had to take out that stitching and I had stitched over it a couple of times, so that was kind of rough. And then I had to connect all of the zigzag patterns together. And it's coming to the end of the row, and then it should go back the other way. So yeah, that took a lot of time, but I think it's going to work better doing it this way than the Feel Inside. So I'll show you what it looks like on the computer. So here's what my pattern looks like on the screen. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating the boundary every time I roll the quilt. And it looks like I'll probably just have to create one more. And then I'm deleting everything I can around it. And then I had to connect it all together. And that's where we're at. Finished the binding on this quilt. Well, I finished putting the binding on. I still need to stitch down the other side of it. And I got a mess going on. I got several projects I'm working on. I still need one more block for my Christmas quilt, and I already have it planned out, but I haven't finished the pattern, so still working on that. Still got to finish this block swap, and then I finished another putting the binding on this baby quilt. I just need to sew it down. And then, I don't know, I have some digitizing stuff I need to do and all kinds of stuff. So here's what the texture looks like for the quilt, and I think it looks really pretty. So I'll be happy when it's done. It's just kind of slow going. doing these little zigzags, but I think it'll look really pretty. All right, my little baby quilt I did on the diagonal is all done, and it took forever. So I'm going to go ahead and unroll it. This will be interesting, cutting it off the frame, so see how it goes. Well, it looks really good. Except for, oh my goodness, what happened? I have one row that did not quilt. I am missing a row, and I am not going to worry about it. Oh my goodness. Well, that was interesting. So it turned out really pretty. I mean, it's hard to see because it's all the same color, but yeah, one row I didn't quilt one row. I have no idea why. It was probably when it messed up. So it's like right here. It's right across here. There, you can kind of see it in the video. So I am not going to go back and quilt it. It's just going to be one of those mistakes that are just, you know, lesson learned, I guess. But and here's the back of the baby quilt. And I mean, it turned out really nice, but except for that one little row. So I think that was when I was doing the fill-in side, and it made a line on the bottom, and then maybe somehow a row didn't get quilted, or I'm not even sure. Maybe I moved it to the wrong spot and didn't notice it. I mean, because it's kind of all the same color, so I could have done that also. Well, you guys have a nice day. See ya.